Georgia students sue school district for not being able to hold an anti-Confederate rally and wear Black Lives Matter t-shirts. This is an article at news1.com. It's by Zach Lindley. This was posted 23 hours ago. It says here, attorneys, parents, and students say Coosa High School, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, it's COSA, allows white students to wear Confederate flag apparel. Now, I've seen several articles out there about this. One at NBCnews.com, Fox 5 Atlanta. So if you haven't heard about this, you're definitely going to hear it in the next couple of days because, of course, this will mark the second-year anniversary since the death of George Floyd. Can you guess where this incident took place, where this lawsuit is taking place? Floyd County, Georgia. I kid you not, Floyd County, Georgia, actually in the city of Rome, Georgia. So the very first sentence by Mr. Lindley, and you can clearly see this author's bias. Now, I might have a bias, but I always do my research before I do any video. But this is clearly biased by this author. Predominantly white schools are not always safe places for black students. Let me read that again. Predominantly white schools are not always safe places for black students. Really, Mr. Lindley? As I said, I always do research for these videos before I do the video. And I came across this website called list25.com. This lists the top 25 most dangerous schools in the United States. So let me go to the top of the list here. At number 25 of the top 25 most dangerous schools in the United States, you have Homer High School in Homer, Louisiana. At number 24, Lodge Grass Elementary School in Lodge Grass, Montana, which somewhat surprised me. I have an uncle who lives in Great Falls. Always thought Montana was somewhat of a safe state. At number 21, Abraham Lincoln High School, Philadelphia. Number 20, DeWitt Clinton High School in New York City. Number 17, Martin Luther King Jr. Middle School, Richmond, Virginia. Not to take up too much time here, let's go to the top 2 most dangerous schools in the United States. Are you ready for it? So at number 2 of the top 25 most dangerous schools in the United States, number 2 is East Lee Middle School in Sanford, North Carolina. Number 1, John Bone High School. That's B-O-W-N-E for the last name. It says here, this high school is quite the dangerous one. A number of incidents have been reported, as this high school has had incidents of somebody being stabbed, assault on police officers, and multiple teen arrests due to weapons and drug possession. Guess which high school is not on this list, Mr. Lindley? Coosa High School in Rome, Georgia. So while predominantly white schools are not always safe places for black students, apparently Coosa High School is a pretty safe school because it's not on the list of the top 25 most dangerous schools in the United States. So he goes on to say, sometimes those black students who express their pro-blackness will be met with a special kind of white fragility that also extends to the policies of their schools. Also, there's just bound to be a lot of racism in general, and said racism is bound to be dismissed, ignored, and weaponized in favor of a culture of whiteness, depending on where you are. We want to talk about generalizations. Let me read this sentence again. Also, there's just bound to be a lot of racism in general. Where's your proof, Mr. Lindley? Where's your proof? This all brings us to a lawsuit filed by a group of black students who were suspended from a Northwest Georgia school for wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts during the protest over the death of George Floyd in 2020. According to WBS-TV2, the lawsuit was filed Tuesday by 5 students at Cusa High School in the city of Rome. The lawsuit claims, not Rome, Italy, by the way, Rome, Georgia. The lawsuit claims that during the protest, which took place days after Floyd was murdered by ex-Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, black students were made to turn their BLM shirts inside out, while the school had no problem allowing white students to wear Confederate flag apparel. Now, what was going on in 2020 during this protest? You had cities that were being looted, burned to the ground, people attacking police officers. So they're rioting, they're looting, they're burning down these cities. Could it be that maybe the reason why this high school asked these students to turn these t-shirts inside out is because of the fact that you had people looting, rioting, and burning down these cities? I don't recall, even going back to Charlottesville, I don't recall anybody who had a Confederate battle flag burning down a building in Charlottesville, do you? Okay, you had a crazy loon that tried to run people over with a cart. One guy out of a crowd of how many people who had a Confederate battle flag? See, that's a mistake that you people in the media make. You assume that everybody who owns a Confederate battle flag or a Bonnie Boo flag or an American flag, did I say Bonnie Boo? If you own a Bonnie Boo flag, you know, anybody who owns any of those flags must be a racist, right? If you love this country, you must be a racist. If you're a Republican, you must be a racist. Got to give props to the guy who was carrying the Confederate battle flag in the U.S. Capitol building on January 6th. Of course, they try to tie January 6th with the George Floyd case. Just this Buffalo shooter alone, this Buffalo shooting has brought the Capitol riots back into the fray here. I'll tell you what this is really about. It has nothing to do with the Buffalo shooting, has nothing to do with these students suing this school. It's all about the 2024 election. You think I'm kidding? So getting back to the article here, this tracks, of course, since white people, especially Southern white people, pretend Confederate symbols are about heritage as opposed to them being odes to slavery and white supremacy. Again, where is your proof of this, Mr. Lindley? Yes, slavery was being debated in the South, but it was also being debated in the North in 1860 and 1861. New Jersey was still a slave state on the eve of the Civil War. And they did not abolish slavery until 1865 in New Jersey, a northern state, which allowed for slavery until 1865. And I can guarantee Mr. Lindley has never read the CSA Constitution. But when those same white people see the words Black Lives Matter, they routinely and incorrectly translate them to death to Caucasians. No, we don't. We take a look at what happened in 2020 with all these riots and all the looting, burning down to these cities. And we don't want that in our town. I'm all for protecting black lives. Who isn't? But when you start looting, rioting, and burning down a city, all bets are off, and I'm not going to support that. I'm not going to support your cause, because obviously you don't care about Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Mattering, pardon me. Because if you did, you wouldn't be looting, rioting, and burning down these cities where black people were, incidentally, getting hurt during these riots. Oh, gee, I never thought about that. No, you didn't, Mr. Lindley. Anyway, attorneys, parents, and students say that racism goes well beyond mere symbols and that the shouting of racial slurs and other forms of discrimination at the school are common. Okay, so you have what? A couple of kids that exchange words with each other? We used to do that all the time. Now, of course, I never used a racial slur on somebody. I would never do that. But kids call each other names all the time. And if there are these types of incidents happening at this high school, then the administrators need to address this and take care of it. I mean, if you have serious evidence that they are not cracking down on these students who are causing problems and expelling them, then go after these administrators, absolutely. I have no problem with that. But I love the students who are being interviewed because you can tell these are not the most educated people. Even teenagers can be well educated and well spoken, but this clearly isn't the case here. If you're trying to make an argument here on how racist this school is, and you want to present your side in the best way possible, I don't think I would be using this type of quote. Here you go. Quote, "And they just was like, they can't do nothing about it," said junior Desiree Turner, a student at the school. Turner said that the school receives constant complaints of racism, and school officials are simply disinterested in taking any kind of action. Again, where's the proof here, Mr. Lindley? "I shouldn't feel unsafe in my school," Turner continued. "I come in here to learn and get an education." Really? Well, why can't you use proper grammar? Jessica Murray, a parent of a student at the school, echoed that sentiment. Quote, "Just this year alone, I've had over 12 complaints," Murray said. In fact, according to the lawsuit, the Floyd protest was actually a counter-protest as it began after white students started waving Confederate flags and shouting racist obscenities on school grounds. Where's the video of this? We have all of this video out there, right? You can turn on your phone camera in a split second. I want to see the footage because I want to go knock a couple of heads together if they're doing that with the Confederate battle flag. That was never the purpose of the Confederate battle flag. I went to Instagram the other day. Got to show this. And there's a page called Save the Rebel Flag. They have a picture of a black couple wearing rebel flag t-shirts. A black couple. Let me tell you this little story real quick. I had somebody deliver pizza to me about a month or so ago. Nice lady. So they delivered a pizza, and she saw my rebel flag, my Confederate battle flag on my wall. She said, "Oh, cool, a rebel flag." We started talking about that. She told me that she's from Texas. And she remembers that they had, because we were talking about them taking down all these symbols, whether it was a Confederate battle flag, you name it. She told me that there were 5 families, African-American families, that attended this, I think it was a school board meeting, something of that nature, something to do with the Confederate battle flag. The NCAAP showed up. And all 5 of these black families told the NCAA, or the NAACP, I can't get my words right. I'm sorry, folks. I don't know how many takes it's taken to do this video, but so the NAACP shows up, and these 5 black families tell these people from the NAACP to go to hell because they said, "You don't represent us, and these are black families that supported the Confederate battle flag." Now go chew on that one for a while, Mr. Lindley. I'm not kidding, folks. That's a true story. Honest to God, that's what she told me. In fact, according to the lawsuit, Floyd protest was actually a counter-protest, as I mentioned. The suit alleges that the white students weren't disciplined while the black students were suspended. Well, were the black students acting out what maybe they saw on TV? I'm just asking. I mean, if the white students were and the school wasn't going after them as well, well, shame on the school administrators. The plaintiffs in the suit don't appear to be asking for much, according to WSB-TV. They're only seeking to have the students' 5-day suspensions expunged and an injunction to get the district to stop with all the blatant racism. All that blatant racism. If things are so bad at this high school, why didn't these students go to another high school? Seriously. Unless maybe this is the only high school close to where they live. But if things are so bad at that high school, why would you want to attend there if there's all this racism? See, they never can answer that question. So I thought I'd come here, share this article with you. Once again, it's at news1.com. And let me make this very clear. I do not support the KKK or white supremacists. I love my Confederate battle flag, my rebel flag, whatever you want to call it, my Bonnie Blue flag, my Betsy Ross flag. In fact, my wife got the Bonnie Blue flag first, the Betsy Ross flag second, and the Confederate battle flag is in the corner in my room here on the wall. Am I racist? Am I sexist? Am I homophobic? No. I think if you're all for freedom and you want states' rights and you don't want the government intruding on what you should say or shouldn't say, protect free speech, you should be embracing the Confederate battle flag and the Bonnie Blue flag and the Betsy Ross flag, because that was the original intent of the country. Not really a country, but this confederation of states, which is what we actually were at the time. To each his own. But hey, if they're doing wrong at this high school, definitely go after these administrators. Sure. But let's get the facts here. Let's let it all in the open. Bring it to the forefront so we can have an honest debate and discussion about this issue. It is a cultural issue, and that's why I wanted to cover it. So thanks for being with me. Culture Confederacy saying peace out. Stay safe, everybody. God bless this great country, and I'll catch you next time.